For this month in February is Native. It was chosen by our Honolulu chapter and illustrated by Jack Soren. So, where you are from shapes who you are. Where you call home influences your worldview. Understanding the traditions of your ancestors can help answer the question, where do I belong? Your connections to a place and the past should rightfully be a source of great pride. The unique customs, art and languages of native cultures make the tapestry of human civilization more vibrant. By respecting and celebrating the traditions and achievements of native people everywhere, we can discover a deeper sense of connection and unity. What does our history have to teach us? What can we learn from each other? I thought this was a perfect time to really explore Welsh culture, identity and language, which is why we're going to try and make this bilingual as possible. You'll have to excuse me, my Welsh is probably GCSE standard, so I'm not massively well through it this morning. So this is the manifesto that was created by our team when we first started. So we're going to do a little ping pong with Laurie here. So when we started, we wanted to look at these key themes. So expand on what creativity is and means, which is
Ehangu ar beth mae'n creadigrwydd yn ei olygu,
showcase the diverse people and culture that Wales offers,
arddangos y bobl a'r diwylliant amrywiol sydd yn Nghymru,
celebrate the Welsh language and include Welsh in our events,
dathlu'r iaith Gymraeg a chynnwys Cymraeg yn ein digwyddiadau,
create an open, inclusive and welcoming community,
creu cymuned agored, gynhwysol a chroesagor,
prioritise and platform diverse speakers.
Blaenoriaethu a rhoi llwyfan I siaradwyr amrywiol.
Have fun!
Cael hwyl!
Yay! Lush. So I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction because so Katie is a singer-songwriter and frontwoman of alt rock band Chroma, my hun babe. Oh. So I'll let Katie explain who she is, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about Chroma. So Chroma's new album, Ask for Angela, is out now and it's banging. I was listening last night. And reflects on the band's collective experience growing up in the South Wales valleys. Explores the myriad lived experiences of young women, exploring infighting within the feminist movement, the oppression of trans rights in the UK, violence against women and other weighty topics. And so the band released music in Welsh too. Katie says, when we were starting out, I was working in Club Evil Bach and seeing loads of other acts come through singing in Welsh. It was like a revelation, and being young, I thought to myself, I could do that, and maybe even better than some. Oh. Personally, I don't write anything in Welsh because I want to be thoughtful and considerate, and I can also be more honest. I'm very aware of the fact that when we play Welsh language music, some members of our audience, it could well be the first time they're hearing it used in such a way. I'm honoured and grateful to hear Katie say. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Hi everyone. This seems a little bit surreal for me, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm Katie. I'm in a rock band. It's a bit wild, I've had a bit of a wild year, but I'd like to give you a bit more background about myself in terms of like where I'm from in the valleys. I'm a valleys girl through and through, and that's massively influenced the kind of art that I've created. We've been all over the world this year, and I take great pride in the fact that I'm Welsh, and I take great pride in the fact that I'm from where I'm from. So let me give you a bit of background into the Katie Hall. So, Cefais i fy ngeni yn ysbyty Tywysog Charles a 19th, my birthday's on Monday. Oh my god! We're on the cusp! Are you a Pisces or an Aquarius?
Depends what.
Depends. You need to find out what time you were born, if you're born on February 19th. And then, yeah, anyway, Cosmic Twins, baby. Chwefra was like 1996. Yeah, anyway, so I was born in Prince Charles. Has anyone heard of Prince Charles Hospital?
Yes.
I've spent several days, not days, like I've never spent the night, apart from when I was born, which is a good thing to be honest. Yeah, so Prince Charles Hospital, massive hospital, emergency thing in the Gyrnos, it's huge. It's got a bit of a bad reputation, a bit rough, like wouldn't want to be in there on a Saturday night. But I take great pride in the fact that I was born in Prince Charles because that's where people from my area are born. I was born in the Gyrnos. I feel like that's a sleigh. Like, I'm from up there, but technically I was born in Merthyr. Yeah, and I love Merthyr, and I grew up a lot, like hanging out while I was in Merthyr when I was like 13, so it says it all really. I'd like to introduce you to Mike and Maria. So that's my mum and dad. That's my Uncle Phil. So my dad loves rugby, he's a mechanic, he's now he's now in a male voice choir, sleigh. My mum used to work for Bernardo's and YMCA. She's the daughter of a Polish immigrant, and she loves art and literature. And one thing that I wanted to kind of bring up with this photo, so that's my Uncle Phil there. That's a girlfriend. Name unknown. Anyway, sorry, that was shade then. He's a bit of a boy. Anyway, so my dad doesn't speak Welsh, but my Uncle Phil does. So basically, when my dad was growing up, my grandparents, they wanted to send him to a Welsh school. So when, I don't know, in the 50s, when they were kind of trying to standardise the language, and you know, like Welsh language schools just began. So you had, he was from what's called Pontypridd, and they opened Rhyfelin, and that was a massive thing for Wales at the time. When Rhyfelin had opened, it was the first kind of secondary school. But you had to have, the rules when my dad was a kid, right, you had to have at least one parent that spoke Welsh in order to attend that school. My grandparents, they both didn't speak Welsh, so they couldn't go to school. So he ended up in like what's called Welsh English education or whatever. By the time Uncle Phil comes around, they changed the rule. So my auntie and, as in fact God, they changed the rules, to be honest with you, because like you're never gonna get like language growth without that, you know. And I don't know, like looking back on it now, I think with the Welsh language, there's like this idea of crachach and stuff that stems from policies like that. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, another thing that I wanted to say, so my mum, my granddad was Polish, so the attitude at the time in like education systems, my granddad got taken into this primary school, and he was like, told him, don't speak Polish to your kids, it'll confuse them. So but then what you get then is you don't get people passing down language and culture and whatever to the children. And that's what people had experienced in the valleys. They call it like the language snap. So I actually studied Welsh in uni. I don't know why, I just went and did it. But it was fascinating, right? Because it's called the language snap. It's like, oh, don't speak. Anyway, what I was going to say is like you're denying that culture from your parents, and yeah, anyway, the only word that I know in Polish is kapucha, which means cabbage, which is also now my band's safe word for when we are very tired. Anyway, I'd like to introduce you to Nana and Taki. Legends, absolute legends. My granddad sadly passed away years ago, but both of them didn't speak Welsh but campaigned for the language. Both of them have been arrested. But yeah. I think it was cool back in the day when they were campaigning for the Welsh language, right? Everyone was getting arrested. Class. But like, what I was going to say is, we've got a generation of kids in our family, all of us are Welsh speakers, because I don't know, they saw the benefit of sending a kid to Welsh school, because you're kind of built in with our language then. I'm not saying that like Welsh language education is perfect. From my experience, it's fucking not. But I don't know, you grow up with being able to speak language, and that is really kind of thing. But you know, I like to consider myself working class. I feel like people don't have, people feel uncomfortable about being working class, because like obviously I'm not now to a certain degree because I'm a creative. I get to do fancy shit like this, like. But my kind of roots are, you know, from these people. My nan is still going, by the way. She's a legend. And yeah, I think it's, you know, really important, but it's definitely shaped the way that I kind of create art, and I really wanted my kind of creative projects to echo, you know, where I come from, because I feel like, especially in music, there's a thing about being authentic, and you get, I don't know, people being like, oh yeah, that middle class band or whatever, were from this kind of privilege, oh, they're inauthentic. It's like, no, they're not, mate. They're not. As in, you can be like pardon my French, just sorry. You can be really, really good and create good art and come from whatever background, whatever. I don't know, there's something about, people fixate on the fact about being working class or emulating working classness or whatever. And then, I don't know, it's this thing of authenticity. So I like to kind of dial it down and try and make sure that, I don't know, the art that I create is kind of coming from me and coming from spaces that is around me. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I do a lot of our music in Welsh, and I try and sing with a Welsh accent, because that's who I am. And it does make you stand out, to be honest with you. Right, so we did this project last year, so after, that's my arse, by the way. It was a wild time to be alive, Katie, I'll tell you what. Tattoo is real, and the A does look like an O now. So like currently the state of affairs says Oni Buniau. But I don't know, it was just laughing. Anyway, so I collaborated. What I learned like over the years, right, it's important to collaborate with people who understand your vision, and especially with music, like the visual kind of element of it. Like I like to call myself the artistic director of Chroma, because basically I'm like, right guys, I'm gonna do this. And they're like, okay, yeah, and I'll go for it, whatever. But I had complete creative reign on this one. And I worked really closely with my friend, Meg Winstone. Meg is an amazing photographer. She's done photos for like Vogue. She does loads of Kerrang covers at the moment. Absolute pledge. And yeah, I was like, with really limited budget, I think, I don't know, we wanted to do this, and I think both of us were like bouncing off each other. So that tattoo there, that's my friend Osh's tattoo. It was done by a heroin addict from Ceredigion. He got it done when he was 16. Calls it his Clifford. But I love it. I absolutely love it. And he's got that on his arm. But like Osh is a very proud Welsh person. Osh's granddad, there's a film about him called The Welshman, and I would definitely go and check it out. He was a campaigner for like the Welsh language and stuff, and he went on the run. It's a hoot, and it's great about like Welsh history as well, because I think we haven't got a lot of stuff out there which kind of covers that, and I think, you know, go watch it, it's great. Anyway, and then we worked with in terms of the fashion, so the shoot was done in Grangetown Catholic Club. It has closed, but what I really love doing is I love the process of putting a photo shoot together. It is, I don't know, it's like herding cats, like it's stressful, but like I love going into like different places and seeing like the room and stuff and different textures. And when I was in Grangetown Catholic Club, it like just reminded me of like being back home and being in, I don't know, like working men's clubs and like that, emulating those spaces. So that's the side room in Grangetown Catholic Club. And oh yeah, that was another thing that I was gonna say. So I remember Meg telling me, right, when we started doing this project, she was like, Katie, if you want to do it, like, as in, I was like, oh right, I want to go fashion. If you want to do it and you want to collaborate with people, just fucking ask her. So I was like, alright, okay. I was like, oh my god, I can't ask Adam Jones, he won't give me anything, like, I'm just like a loser band from the valleys. Lo and behold, message Adam Jones, wonderful designer, he's amazing, he's from Wrexham, and I love his work and artistry. And he was like, yeah babes, have what you want, sends me loads of samples, and like at the time he was probably, you know, he's still going strong, but like he was really, really popular, so he sends me loads of samples, and I was like, shit, I've got a bag full of, I don't know, really expensive clothes, like they go for like £200 a pop plus, and then, I don't know, the next day, like when they'd arrived, I'd broken up with my boyfriend who I lived with, and then I was like walking around with this box of clothes until we could do the photo shoot. Which is fine, we have healed, we're good. Anyway, yeah, so that was another thing that I was going to say, like ask people who get it, you know. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, so I love this EP because it's a Welsh language EP and it's called Llygredd Gweledol, which means visual pollution in Welsh, or visual corruption. We wanted to play on the thing of words having like double meanings in bilingualism. So visual corruption is like you can see corruption happening, but visual pollution is like light pollution basically. Anyway, we did it really quickly with Chrissy Jenkins, and I don't know, sometimes my band are very good when we are under pressure. We're terrible at deadlines, and we'd recorded our album Asperangela like I don't know, I think it was, oh god, when did Trump storm the Capitol building? Does anyone know? Seems like ages ago. It was January.
6th January 2020.
Yeah. As in, the reason why I say that was because I remember being like, right, I'm going to the studio, we're going to record our album, yay. And then my housemate came down and she was like, have you seen what's going on? And we were like, shut up, Pinky. And then we were like, driving up there, and we were like, oh, fucking hell, the world is burning, okay. Yeah, no, so that was when we actually recorded Asperangela, but we were very aware that there wasn't any Welsh songs on that album, and that was just how the cards had kind of rolled and stuff. I'm very much a believer in terms of songs. I'm not going to try and reach a quota, like I don't want to reach a quota of English or Welsh songs. I'd rather do like a body of work which is really fucking good in Welsh, and you know what I mean, I put my absolute all creatively into that, then I don't know, try and reach a quota with like language or whatever. So we were like, oh god, we're gonna have to do a EP because I don't know, Radio Cymru are gonna be pissed off with us. So we were like, but to be honest with you, in terms of like what we kind of came out with, it was a really good EP. It's a really good EP and I'm really proud of it. Anyway, so that's Chrissy Jenkins, that's Ed Billy, that is myself, sadly, and that's like where we recorded it, and we made it relatively cheap, like, and it was very live and punky the way that we did it. Chrissy's an amazing guy, he's a fantastic person to work with. He's worked with like Griff Rhys, He's worked with, I don't know, super furry animals. He's like an old school Cardiff legend, and he still works with like young children today. And like working with Chrissy, like the way that he records you, he is very much led by the band. And I think for me, like developing into that second stage of being an artist, it helped me kind of learn to advocate for myself and be like, okay, Mr. Producer Man, all right, that is what you want, sounds great, but this is what I want, please, this is the way it goes, because that's your product at the end of the day. And he was wonderful for doing that. Anyway, what I was going to say, I have been all over the world this year. So, last year, one project, right, that I've been working on is with Cardiff University, and it was like a cultural exchange with a band called Halftime from New Zealand. And basically, I was looking at, like, I don't know, the punk scene in Wales and the DIY punk scene in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So Halftime are a Maori punk band, and why I actually started the project because why was studying Maori studies in Waikato University, also in a punk band. He's also a sound engineer and artist, and so started writing punk songs in Maori. That's us out in Aotearoa, Hamilton. Funny story actually, the first time that we landed I got horrific tonsillitis, so I had to cancel our first kind of couple of shows. So that was the first time that we'd actually properly performed in Hamilton, which is Kirikirioa in what's called Maori. Yeah, and I just wanted, they're a wonderful band, and I just wanted to kind of speak about them because they speak so eloquently about their culture and their language, and like in terms of like colonialism and how that has kind of squashed so many cultures, and you know, diversity in the fact of, I don't know, different cultures and language and, you know, stuff. I think you've got hope when you've got bands like punks on the other side of the world who are like making music in, you know, their native kind of languages. Anyway, I, as you all are probably aware by now, I love a good tattoo. And me and Zach last year were going 2 for 2 on tattoos in every country, which is a bit silly that we ended up going to. At the start of the year, we started with margarita glasses in Texas. At the end of the year, I got this, which is ridiculous. And I don't know, we just love going into like a tattoo shop in a foreign country and then being like, oh, giving it all this. And also, that only cost me £100, which in tattoo standards is ridiculously cheap, really. But anyway, if someone ever says, oh, can I do some free hand writing on you? And you go, yeah, do whatever. Anyway, so the YY Express, so YY means legs in Maori. So it's basically a term for, oh, how are you getting home? I'm taking the YY Express. I've got that permanently on my body. Yeah, but I don't know why I wanted to end on that. I just wanted to give it as an anecdote. But yeah, I love words which are like in different languages, and you know, that's part of you forever. And like saying as like being native doesn't necessarily, I don't know, just look at your roots and look at yourself, and I think that can kind of guide you to some interesting places, because at the end of the day, like looking at your own history, you're being yourself, aren't you? Like, yeah, and that's it to me now. Yay! Yay!